give him nerves. It's really going to be, does he have anything left to take this series? But we're here. The first game of this best of 5 is on Belshir Vestige and spawning in the southeast position. The red Zerg player, young, very confident from Team Startail. It is Life.
"16 years old. 16-year-old, 6 tournaments to his name. What more can you say?"
There's really not much. He's just had such an illustrious career for such a young player, and he's looking to advance it. But this guy, 19 years old, the blue Protoss player from Azubu, trying to get his first tournament. It is Patience! And this crowd is really behind the underdog Protoss player here, Apollo.
And he is the underdog. There's no other way to describe it. Every single game he plays here, on paper, he's not meant to win, which is why it's so impressive. He's not meant to beat MMA. He's not meant to beat Innovation. And he's certainly not meant to beat Life either. But every time he defies the odds, finds a way, and he was able to beat these world-class players. But like I said earlier, Life is better than Innovation, and Innovation is better than MMA. It's getting harder every single time, and then you have Tasia, who's won 4 major tournaments in the last couple of months. It keeps on getting harder within this format, but can he keep up to the task? Can he keep up against these players?
One of the things I kind of like to see from Patience this game, he's opened up with the gateway, and his style, characteristically from all the matches we've seen him play today, has been this: I can play macro style, but I'll also threaten aggression. And sometimes I'll be very aggressive off 1 or 2 bases.
Yeah.
And now with this probe moving out, he gets information. He could kind of maybe, a drone will come down. He might fear a potential cannon rush on this map since he did open with the hatchery first.
Yeah.
But I think this is a solid opener from Patience. And when Life realizes it's a gateway expand, if he's seen any games that Patience plays, he knows there is a potential that he'll bring some aggression.
And that was absolutely a mind game there. It's a gateway expansion. There is no forge. There is no possibility of a cannon rush. But with the probe movement around the hatchery there, it pulled 1 drone to go scout and a second one just in case a pylon and cannon started to be built. So that was a little bit of a mind game. Life did lose a little bit of minerals because he had the drones not working in the mineral lines. But of course, nothing too big here to start this early on.
Yeah, the Overlord makes it into the natural of Patience. He should see this probe place the Nexus, and with the timing of it, say, okay, it's most likely that gateway expand. There's no wall of any kind set up, and he has a fast third hatchery of his own. So Life just kind of going through the flow of a very normal Zerg versus Protoss opener without being too greedy. Didn't go for the 2 hatcheries before his spawning pool. Now the Mothership Core comes out. We don't have any other units on the field for Patience, so is he going to get out a fast Zealot with this? Will he try to bring some pressure to that third base? That's the big question on my mind, as he's just starting to get the wall set up for his natural.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Patience, I'm not too sure if he has seen the third base. Did he scout that with the probe down there? That's the one thing I didn't see. No, he hasn't seen it, so he doesn't know that there is that third down there. But there is absolutely a possibility he could be aggressive. Life is only just now taking an extractor. With the extractor, with the first 100 minerals here, he'll be able to research Zergling speed, and from that point, he's going to be able to control the pace of the game in the middle of the map. But look at this, from Patience, before any gateways, or robotics facility or Stargate some tech, he's decided to throw down the Forge. With the Forge being this early, and being able to get an early +1 attack out, definitely aggressive possibilities can spring from this.
And the +1 attack gives a huge advantage in the Zealot versus Zergling battle. Zergling's, you know, a classic Startail Life unit. He will pick off the probe, so denying a little bit more of that scouting from Patience. Don't think he's still seen that hatchery. And now, putting up the gateway wall. I'm wondering if Life will notice that, though. You mentioned that the Forge came super early. Will he say to himself, these gateways do feel a little bit later than usual?
Yeah, but there could be a Stargate. It could be another gateway inside the main base. He has absolutely no idea, and until he scouts it with an Overlord, or if he's able to sneak a Zergling in, he's going to have no idea about that. So definitely Life, through seeing the playstyle of Patience, which is aggressive, which loves to win the game in the middle parts of it, he's got to be careful. He's already built a Spore Crawl. He doesn't know if it was a Twilight Council for Dark Templar. Doesn't know if it's a Stargate for Phoenixes. And Life is absolutely going to have to play this game cautiously. He's going to throw down a Roach Warrant, which is great against gateway timings, lots of Zealots and stuff. But I really think that Patience, by the looks of it, is going to throw down more than just these 2 gateways. It's not just going to be 2, unless he decides to take a fast third base. And those are his 2 options, a fast third base or extra gateways. And it is going to be the extra Nexus. not the gateways here. Definitely could have lined up aggressively.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting setup. He can use the early sentry to send out this hallucinated Phoenix Scout. He'll be able to get the read on that third base as well as anything that's going on in the main, like that Roach Warren. I think it's kind of interesting that Life only sent out that one Overlord at the start. He doesn't have anything that he can really throw into the main base to see what Patience is up to. And he also doesn't quite know that this third Nexus is here. Azurli on the right side should be able to spot this without too much trouble, though.
Yeah, so this is a pretty fast reaction here from Life. He's going to go up there and say, oh, okay, so you're not going to attack me. I don't really need to build units defensively. And to be honest, I'm not too sure if he needs the additional Spore Crawlers that he's building at this moment. With a fast third base that's been put down there, he knows his opponent is low on gateways, low on tech, and is obviously playing relatively greedy with this Nexus. So the options now that are presented to Life: go ahead, drone up, get up to Hydra Den and just look to further your tech, or try to be aggressive. But look at this, Patience is moving across with minimal units here. And he's just off a couple of gateways, remember. He's only got a couple of gateways behind this. He has been building quite a few units, and this may catch Life off guard.
Yeah, with only 3 gateways, this is a bit of a risky move out until that Mothership Core reunites with the army, I feel, because he doesn't have access to a recall just yet. He's bringing the pressure. There's only a handful of Roaches. Force fields some drones away. He hasn't really killed too much just yet.
Yeah, this is just really pressure. He really can't do too much. It's not a big army. He does have a pylon behind it. Remember, he does have +1 as well. But I think the Mothership Core is somewhere around 2 recall if things do get a little bit scary. And I really like this play, because if Life is being too greedy, he could kill the hatchery. And if Life is trying to play greedy, he also needs to build units now, so he really can't play to how he'd like to. And of course, he can always recall away.
Yeah, trying to force field away from this hatchery, just picking off what few units he can. The Mothership Core is here now. Patience has the option to recall if things get a little bit too hairy. He's keeping his army very condensed. Now the Roaches start to spill through, but a lot of them are locked in that mineral line. Patience is slowly chewing through what Life has at this third base, and he has that +1 attack, that extra damage. Now he's being overwhelmed, and he recalls.
Excellent play there from Patience. And the reason why it's excellent is he's not really looking to be super aggressive because he's got a third base. He's looking to play towards the third base. And now with using his units like that, keeping Life away from being too greedy, keeping Life from going up to full bases and maximum amounts of drones that he can get, that's good play from him.
And I like this. He's just covering his bases behind this. He's put up 2 photon cannons behind his wall in the case of a worst possible scenario. The Zerglings are bringing some harass, but like you said, that third base is done so quickly for Patience. That aggression didn't really need to do much damage because a Nexus this quick, if he can hold on to it, puts him in a nice position either way, I feel.
But the thing which is really funny here, Nathanias, is he's not really building any probes. He's not really loading up that third Nexus to really saturate it. He's only at 48 probes, which isn't very high. He's decided to go for a +2 attack. He's decided to add on more gateways and going for Blink, and I really don't think he's going to sit back very much in this game. Even though it looked like it initially with going for this third Nexus, he is playing aggressive. He is playing very actively in the middle of the map, and by the looks of it, may push further.
Yeah, Life sending some Zerglings to the left side, wants to see what's up. And with that Blink and the Immortals and the +2, he could try to go for a composition that can just straight up mow down a Roach Ling composition. However, we are seeing Life make a bit more of a switch. He has a lot of Zerglings on the map now, a lot of Hydralisks. And it just seems that he's kind of keeping his Roaches on the map to either look for pylons or just get a bit more awareness. He's being very forward with them, but leaving a large majority of his army back at the natural.
And now with more probes going towards this third base, the robotics bay being thrown down, we're starting to see exactly how Patience wants to play this out. Even a second robotics facility here. He's building Immortals that are going to really beef up his army overall. But once the robotics bay completes, he's going to be going over to Colossus and double production of them as well. Life is still sitting at Hydralisks. So at this point, until the Colossus come out, he's actually pretty strong because you need splash damage to be able to deal with the Hydralisk. Their damage output is massive, and they come in large numbers, so you're going to need splash damage. The faster the Colossus comes out, the better it is for Patience. So as we see Life move across, he's strong, but there are force fields. There is a photon overcharge available. If he buys enough time to get the Colossus out, get +3 attack, and even thermal lance, then he's in really good shape. But before that, I'm pretty sure he's really fragile at this moment.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a great move out for Life because +1 attack is finishing. He's putting up his 4th base behind this. Patience going out to scout with some hallucinated Phoenix, but like you said, this is the time where he's most vulnerable. He has the Colossi starting to come out. The first one's complete, but no extended thermal lance, and this third base is under attack. Photon overcharge is activated.
He doesn't want to lose his third base. He's going to have to force field well, keep the Hydralisk push back. That's a lot of them. And remember, the more and more Colossus that we see out, this is great. And I really think that if Patience holds this attack without losing too much, the counter attack is going to be so strong because the Colossus count is going to be so high.
He has a great army, but the concave here from these Hydras, he has to be careful with how far he wants to press out. Retreating closer to that Nexus, using the Photon overcharges, hit points to help tank some of this damage, but the Roach is coming from the left side as well. Life is doing a lot of damage to this base. The Nexus still stands, though the Colossus adding in a lot of damage. The second Colossus is here, continuing to warp in units. The Immortals doing work. Life does grab the Nexus, though, before he goes for a little bit more of a retreat.
Life uses that opportunity before Patience is too strong. He's able to pick off the Nexus. He jumps forwards. He's trying to target down the Colossus. Nice micro back there, but it does get picked off by Patience. A blink forward to counteract the Hydra movement. And look at the supply. It is so close. That Spire, when that finishes, and when we see a lot of units come out, whether it be Corruptors or Mulas, I'm expecting Corruptors at this point. Because remember, the most important unit is the Colossus. You get rid of the Colossus, then the Roach and Hydras will do the rest. Life has played this out well. He hit the window of opportunity well, and now he's getting ready to prepare for the counterattack, which we were always going to see when a player is pushing out two Colossus at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the army, the tech units that Patience has are wrong, but you said it best. He hit the ultimate timing. The extended thermal lance for the Colossi finished just as Life was retreating, and the 9 Corruptors are coming out. The Stalkers can't take these down while also covering for the Colossi against the Hydralisk Zergling composition, and even more Roaches being put in to help tank some hit points. Third Nexus is underway again. Still some Roaches harassing that third base. At the same time, Life is showing why he feels very confident moving into this match, and now the Roaches and Zerglings trying to catch this force. The Corruptors take out the shield on one of the Colossi, going for the second one. The Roaches step right up. No way to protect these units. There's no recall available. He does have a lot of Stalkers, though, and the ground army being shoved back for the time being. 2 more Colossi show up as he gets the Roaches outside of his third base.
Patience has got his third back up and running. Remember, through all of this, he still has +3 attack. That's a lot of damage that his units do offer here. But is he going to be able to survive the storm of the Corruptors? There's still quite a few of them. If he can, then he's in good shape. But not too many sentries, not too many force fields, and Life is defending this left-hand side.
Pressing him away from the fourth base. One Colossus picked off very quickly. The second one being targeted down as well. The Stalkers trying to retreat, but there's so much Zerg here. Life pushes Patience under that 100 supply window, still sitting very close to a max, and continuing to pump out the Hydralisks, the Zerglings, and the Roaches. Not really able to join up that fourth base, but if he keeps Patience with such cost and effective engagements and harassing him after these attacks, I don't know that it's as big of a deal as it seems.
Life is a boss. He understands exactly how his opponent is trying to play. He's dealing with it perfectly. And for the first time this evening, Patience is looking vulnerable. Startail Life is coming in for a killer strike. There are no more Colossus. And with the Hydralisks that are there in high numbers with Roaches and Lings around them at a great position, which is very hard for the Zealots and Stalkers to fight, Life is coming in. And if he wins this fight, he will win the game.
Uses the corruption ability on the Immortals to cause them to take a bit more damage, but look at this spread. The Hydras all around, all of them able to fire at once. There is these 2 Immortals, though. They're able to do a lot of damage with that +3 attack, so Patience is going to hold on for now, but he's losing so much at the... He's trading away too much to try to keep this army away.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good play from Patience, blinking backwards, keeping units alive for longer, and he still has that +3 attack, which is ultimately amazing. But look at Life. He is not trying to further his tech. He realizes Patience is down and bleeding, trying to recover. He is just building up his army, building, powering forward, realizing that with one good fight, the game would end. But he's yet to find that great fight. Is there a comeback possible? Is there a way for Patience to get back into this game properly?
The investment that Patience has had to make to keep his forces growing enough to keep his third base alive have prevented him from building any more Colossi. There's still enough Hydralisks that Immortals are not going to be the answer to this composition. He's balling up a lot of Stalkers, which in head-to-head engagements don't trade as well with the Hydras. The Roaches are trying to press the natural, and he's still holding this position where even if he doesn't kill the Nexus, he can't kill the probes, and now he's starting to engage. The Immortals are in the front, taking some of that damage. He's doing everything he can. The Corruptor's not adding in too much more, but there is a lot of Zerg, and no matter how much Life loses, he stays above 170 supply, just constantly trading back and forth. Patience under 90 supply at this point, and this is where it's already reached that situation where the main base is mining out, the natural will start to run low, and Patience is running out of options.
And he's running out of resources because his third keeps on getting harassed. The units keep going behind the mineral lines, and Life is playing true to the swarm. Waves after waves after waves, until eventually his opponent is left with nothing. The Stalker count is increasing, but so is Life's army, up to 190 supply versus just a miserable 90 at this moment, and Life powering on, and he really is just keeping the pressure up.
Patience trying to catch Life, overextending, will snap up a few units. More are streaming across the map. But one thing Patience hasn't been able to do is any form of harass. Life can safely send all these units out. He hasn't been challenged in any other way because Patience needs every dime to defend against this. And Life bolsters his forces, gets everything together, and he's going for a bit of a concentrated attack.
Yeah.
I like that he's sitting back a bit more. He has the +2 about to complete. He also has the infestation pit, and he might even just get the hive for upgrades.
Yeah, what I think we'll see most likely here, Life is saying, come on, man, why can't I kill you? I'm trying so hard. I keep on pummeling these units at you. But Blink is really helping out Patience. Even though I think Swarmos would be nice in this position, I think we may even see Pathogen Glands. He may just go for the Infestors and saying, all right, let me clamp your units down. Let me prevent you from blinking. Because if you can't do that, then I will run up close, my +2 attack is almost finished, and I will annihilate anything you have. And that's the choice that Life has gone for.
Yeah, he's adding in the Pathogen Glands upgrade, so we should see Infestors come out in this game. +2 attack is done, +1 Carapace now on the way. But, you know, a point we've been mentioning as Life continues to reposture his army throughout this map is that natural expansion is getting lower and lower. He's not really mining any minerals in the main base, and Life's trying to get that 5th. The Stalkers do deflect that drone, but there's the hive as well coming in. And, I mean, Life's Roach Harass getting stopped by the natural. But Patience, what options does he have to bring himself back in this game?
Just keep on building units, keep Life away from this right-hand side, from taking free bases, and maybe, eventually, he can have an army that can fight. Remember, he's got good upgrades, and Blink Stalkers, the higher they get, the better they become, because there's just more of them, he can keep on blinking and blinking and blinking back. And this is a nice movement down. If somehow he's able to find this 4th base to pick it off, he'd be in great shape. But the problem is that Life is everywhere. He sees everything. And now Life is finally ready to fight. The Infestors are out. And if these land the fungals, which we're probably going to see land, then Patience will not be able to use that mobility to his advantage.
Trying to cut off the Protoss army a little bit from running back towards that natural Guardian Shield activated. Force fields are dropped, and Life trying to get a big fight. A lot of these Hydras are force fielded away, so he gets a good trade against the first few Roaches. The Infestors not able to get in range with their fungals, and Patience is challenging Life to come up this ramp. At the same time, a huge Blink Stalker move into the main base. He sees the hive going after the Queen. What exactly will he target is a big question, and it just looks to be the drones for the time being. Life reposturing towards the potential 4th base, and Patience is saying, please come back, trying to buy himself a little bit of time. He does have Colossi on the way back home, trying to double pump them, but a supply box slowing down the 2nd robotics facility, and these Roaches that are coming out should be enough to stave this back. The 3rd base under attack. Apollo, there's the fungal.
And he's landed the fungal, and these units aren't going anywhere, but he has split up his units to go back and defend. Does he have enough to go through this? Because if he doesn't, then he's going to lose a lot here. And, well, it's close, but I think that Patience is going to win this out.
A lot of the Stalkers are still alive for that harassing force, but you're right, these Hydras are just still trading away a lot. Patience somehow not dead yet, but he's also focusing down the probes that are in the 3rd base of Patience, trying to slow the economy as much as possible. The Stalkers move towards the right. They're going to get caught by these Roaches. A fungal could seal their fate. Not enough, though, to actually cast that just yet.
All right, so Patience is playing really well, considering the circumstances that Life is controlling this game, looking to end it at every point he can. Double Colossus production has begun. One unit which is kind of low is the Corruptors. There's only 6 of them at the moment. They don't have upgrades, and the Colossus do have a +1 armor. Maybe, well, I was going to say maybe, but now seeing the Vipers ready to go, they're going to pull the Colossus in. So I was going to say that maybe there's a chance for Patience with having the Colossus, but what we're going to see now is another attack. Attack after attack. Aggressive playstyle. That's how Life loves to play. He loves to fight. He loves to attack, and he's coming in for most likely now the last fight of the game. If somehow Patience holds on against Corruption, against Corruptors, Vipers, which are going to pull the Colossus in, it would be a miracle.
Grabs
but I don't
both.
think he's going to hold this time.
Presses in, and GG Life takes game number 1 over Patience with some fantastic control and really hitting an amazing timing early on.
Definitely, Zerg plays out there. It's going to be difficult. Nothing is impossible on this caliber of stage at this level of such a tournament.
And we are here for game number 2 on Yansu, spawning in the southwest position. The Red Zerg player showing why he's confident to win this tournament with a quick win in game number 1 from Startail. It is Life! The sign bringing many tears as Life has managed to take this first game against an opponent that's really been coming out on his own this tournament, taking out so many champions throughout the year, all in one tournament. And here he is in the northeast position. The blue Protoss player quickly becoming a crowd favorite from Team Azubu. It is Patience!
All right, so Yunsu is the map for these two players. What are we going to see when it comes down to their builds and strategies? Do we see a gateway opening once again by Patience? Does he try to go for a Nexus first here? No, it is going to be a gateway expansion, just like we saw previously. He can do this with one gas. He can do it with two. It really depends on his overall playstyle. If he wants to be able to get a faster Nexus down, he'll do it off a single gas and use the Mothership Core for protection against any early Zerglings. If he has some kind of plan after the Nexus is complete, whether he wants to go for a fast Stargate or a fast Twilight Council, then we could see double gases down. The norm, though, is to try to get the faster Nexus off just one gas.
Yeah, and Life, he's playing this game a little bit closer to the chest than the last one, opening up with the economic spawning pool, now taking the hatchery a little bit later. He doesn't want to be vulnerable to any type of cannon rush or any other weird early pressure that could be brought from Patience. Since he's shown he's no stranger to proxying gateways against Terran players, why take the risk? You're up 1-0. And Patience's probe will come in and scout. Seemed nothing unusual. He's still got that one gas, though. So I think the one gateway expand makes a lot of sense, I think, for the Protoss player.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. I'm really interested in the way that Life's open, with the spawning pool first over the hatchery, because in the last game, it was the other way around, remember? It was the hatchery, then the spawning pool. And some of you may say, well, why did he change it? Well, the simple reason is, in Protoss versus Zerg, once a player opens up hatchery, he's saying that, well, I hope you don't cannon rush me, as we saw Life pull down drones to protect it. And if he was to do the same again, then we could have seen Patience try a cannon rush. And if he had have tried it, then Life would have walked over it because he had the spawning pool down so fast. So Life was maybe anticipating Patience to try to pick up an early advantage because of how he opened up previously.
Yeah, and Life gets the read on the Nexus, so both players kind of see nothing super aggressive in this early phase from each other. This is going to be at least another standard game up until that 6-minute mark, it looks like, where we'll see the tech choices come out of the Protoss player. And what does Life do? I feel like the fast third hatchery is just something he likes in this situation. He hasn't taken any gas yet, and should recognize that it's a gateway expand once again.
Yeah, by the looks of it with his build so far, he will be taking that fast third hatchery. And I wonder if Patience will do anything to stop it. He's probably expecting a similar playstyle as well. And we'll have to find out if that's going to be the case here. We do have quite a few queens in production. We have 3 queens in total. They're going to have 1 on each hatchery, and then another one to be able to spread creep. And that's going to be able to push that forward, because spreading creep between the natural to the third and even beyond the third is important on a smaller 2-player map where there's a lot of aggressive Protoss builds that are very comfortably played here. Because on the third base of the Zerg player, on the high ground, there's a fantastic position for the Protoss to fire down to really maximize efficiency and could cause Zerg a headache.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Having the queen that can spread the creep, there's so many different directions the aggression can come from. Not only the main pathway to your opponent, but like I said, that left side hallway, you can see pylons put in the northwest, and you can try to bring harass to a potential 3rd or 4th in the later stages of the game as well.
Look,
Mothership Core's moving out, though.
And a probe's moved down there as well, and we do have 2 additional gateways. It's not a huge amount of gateways, but the problem is here is that he's gone down and seen no third hatchery. Life is playing, as you said, tight to his chest. He's not expanding too fast. And then Patience has decided to really cancel his initial plans here. I felt that he was probably going to try to harass that third base if that's what we were going to see, but it's not. It's a robotics facility coming down here.
And a Roach Warren from Life. No evolution chambers or anything of the like just yet. And Zergling speed begins, adding on 8 more lings. What exactly is Life going for here? It's kind of weird the way that this complements the semi-aggressive opening from Patience, bringing these units out here. He'll force him back, and there's no base to harass, as you stated, for the Protoss player.
Yeah, he's not trying to be aggressive with this. He's just playing ultra defensive. He realizes that this is a map that we see aggressive play on. Patience is an aggressive player. You put 2 and 2 together, he's played defensive. He's got the Roach War nice and early in case there was Zealots already being present out there. He's got Zergling speed after that as well to make sure he's safe. 6 Roaches is quite a lot, but if you think about the aggressive options from him, how is he going to be able to break down a Protoss player who is playing defensive behind a Photon Overcharge and Force Fields? It's almost impossible.
Yeah, I like that he's kept a couple of Zealots out here, actually. Manages to deny a creep to him, and he's trying to go for these queens, it would almost seem. He's actually headed straight for that third hatchery. The creep spread isn't there just yet. The Zerglings quite slow themselves. Will catch maybe 1 Zealot, but I don't think he's going to be able to get this third hatchery up just yet. The queen's not able to get there in time to reinforce. Roaches are coming out for Life, but a nice little mini victory. We can see here where Life's attention is being spent.
Yeah, that's right, and he will have to rebuild that third, so it's a nice pickup there, especially because Life dedicated quite a few resources to building an army that was meant to stop that very thing that we just saw. So a little bit unfortunate there for Life. Pretty good for Patience, I'd say.
Yeah, and Life moves straight up to his lair. He's moving the roaches across the map. There's still some zealots. They're bringing that pressure on. So the Zergling's not quite enough to stop this. The roaches are still moving across the map. The Mothership Core sees this, and we have that robotics facility already with a second Immortal about to pop out. You can't really bring any counter pressure to the Protoss player.
If Life is too aggressive here, he can easily get Roaches caught, and he's baiting him in here. And where are the Force Fields? Oh, he crashes two. Okay, that's better than, you know, it's better than one, it's better than zero, but I think he would have liked more. He was baiting it in. But the first thing that Life saw, Immortals, and that means alarm bells must be ringing, because why does he have Immortals early on, this early in the game? Patience is going to start to move out. He's only at 40 probes, he's adding on extra gateways, and just like the Patience we know, he's going to get to the other side, he's going to be aggressive, and with the third base being delayed for so long, not only is it economy Life is missing, it's production he's missing. He doesn't have lava to produce a lot of units, so Life now has been put up to a scenario that I'm not sure he's in the best position to deal with.
Trying to use the counter to get him, surrounds one of the Immortals of Patience. A nice grab for him as he tries to force back. There are sentries here, a couple Zerglings, but the roaches do slip in under a bit of a threat. The main army is outside. There's no pylon self reinforced yet. The Warp Prism is coming out now, but he's forced to use the Photon Overcharge. He has to expend the sentry energy, losing some of those sentries as well. And this is a nice way for Life to rein Patience in and delay that attack that he wanted to go for.
He's delaying the attack, he's able to build more units, he's able to get that third hatchery down, hopefully be able to get a queen down there to help the lava production. But overall, Patience hasn't really changed anything. He started to add on probes. Oh, okay, now, he's thrown down the robotics bay. I think he said to himself, nice move there. You've slowed me down, now I'm gonna go back to how I like to play. And as you can see on screen, this is Life's first-person view. And that purple dot running around is exactly what he's looking at. Through infrared technology that we have in the booth, that's exactly what he's looking at.
I like seeing his attention on those sentries. So crucial if you can do the damage to them early on. Now starting to micro back a little bit further. He does expend a lot of that energy, and without the time to really build up that energy, it's so difficult to get the proper engagements versus Zerg, especially with how aggressive Life is being. He's trying to force these fights in open areas where he has to use the maximum number of force fields to get a decent fight. And now, looking to sandwich the Protoss army. There's barely any force fields here. He can't stop him from moving in. Immortal being targeted. Time Warp adding in a little bit more to slow this army down. Just enough from Patience, but now he can move right into that natural expansion.
Life's army movement is so beautiful with the counterattacks and coming around from all these different avenues. He's caught his opponent out of position, really. And even though there's a drop gun on the other side, there's roaches in here. They're going to go around to the probe line. They're going to start killing probes. Even though he's losing a lot of roaches here, he really is slowing the income and the economy down of the Protoss player.
Yeah, the Immortals trying to blast away at these roaches to clean things up, but he targeted actually a lot of these probes. He's killed off 14 of them so far, now up to 15. Could even grab a few more. The Warp Prism is a nice play, but I feel like if he had the Immortal back home, he could have held this attack off a little bit more easily. He now has a Colossus coming out, but there's no third base in sight for Patience because he kind of has to turtle at this point.
And I love the way that Life is playing. Whenever he's in danger and you feel like he could lose, he counterattacks and then brings you back. And it's such a beautiful maneuver. Even though that's what, you know, Patience is trying to do here. He's like, you're attacking me, let me attack you. Life just has too many units, and he pushes it back while being able to be on the other side of the map, expanding, attacking, and then at the same time expanding. He's able to, do all of these things at the same time. That's what really makes him the Zerg he is.
Yeah, and I'm not sure in this situation that Patience has many other options than to try to turtle up. If he goes for a concentrated attack, Life has the Spire on the way. He's able to mine off of this third base. He can use the advantage of those earlier engagements to hold off an assault from the Zubu Protoss. So what can he really do besides try to take this third base and play from behind?
He really just needs to slow the game down, because if he plays at the same speed Life is playing, allowing all these counterattacks, Protoss isn't really meant to be played like that. It's meant to be played slowly, defensively, build up that army. But he's trying to play as fast as Life. He needs to slow the pace of this game down. But Life is always trying to keep the pace high. Again with another attack. And is that Colossus going to get caught? No, the force fields are pretty good here. And it looks like he will kill off these roaches and lings. And that actually, for the first time, was a pretty good trade-off for Patience.
Yeah, that's about as much as you can ask for when you get hit with an attack from the Zerg player. Few Zerglings with a roach in the main base shouldn't be able to do too much. And what's important to note, Patience actually saw the Spire in the third base of Life, so he should at least recognize there's that potential for a Mutalisk switch. There's the potential of the Corruptors coming out as well, and his army's moving down. The Roach is catching some of these sentries off guard. The Colossus being shoved back, thinking Micro on this cliff, walks down the cliff and gets gobbled up though. And what can he really do at this point? The Roach is continuing to cover him. He's saying, yeah, good luck trying to take a third base. I'm going to be on top of you all game, but the supply getting a little bit closer. He's adding on hatcheries, and Patience is he's making the most of this situation, but it's so hard for him. And now, there we see the resources being spent. 11 Mutalisks on the production tab, Apollo.
Life is so good at StarCraft. It's unbelievable. He is so fast. He's able to pull off all these moves. He is active all the time. He's picking off warp prisms. He's expanding to a 4th and 5th base. He's made a major army switch here, going from Lings and Roaches. Yeah, that's good, because right now Patience is on Zealot, Sentries, Colossus. He's trying to slow the game down. He's trying to build a solid army. And then Life says, well, guess what? If you're going to play like that, how about I ramp up the speed even more? Can you defend your third and then defend your main base at the same time? What happens if I use flying units? And he's going to send up an attack. It's probably going to go to the main base. And Life was just playing out of this world at the moment. It's really, really special to see this.
Yeah, the Twilight Council still 20 seconds away. No sight of Blink coming in. And the Roaches, like you said, pulling this army to the left. The Zerglings try to run into the middle. And the Zergling and the Mutalisks are prepared to hit the main base. So he's hitting from 3 angles.
And Patience is saying, yeah, I'm dealing with your attacks, bro. I've got them on the natural and the third. But oh no, look at this. The Mutalisks just go straight into the main base.
He only has 5 Stalkers on the map, Apollo. The Probe's having to evacuate the main base of Patience. He's going after some of the pylons to prevent Blink from being researched, and here we can see him just trying to multitask. Will pick off a Colossus into the center of the field, and this is where that fast speed, those actions per minute, really paying off for the Startail Zerg. Patience is just saying, I can't do much else, sending everything he has, save the Stalkers across the map with the Zerglings, the Mutalisks pouring through. The Stalker count manages to hit 10, but there's still 20 Mutalisks on the field, and he's just going to go back and swallow up this army. There's no Mothership Core here to recall. This is a committed attack from Patience, and I don't think it's going to do enough. He's picking off the sentries, the Zerglings coming from the back, the Mutalisks hitting this Colossus as well, and Patience is running out of options.
Excellent. With more Zerglings and more Mutalisks coming to reinforce these Stalkers, even though they can be good against Mutalisks, with the amount of units that Life has, it is no match.
Has it in him to keep this tournament run he's had, this incredible run going just a little bit longer. And his opponent in the way of that, up 2-0 in the southeast position. The Red Zerg from Team Startail, it is Life. He's such a remarkable player, putting out such great games, handling everything that Patience threw at him in the first two maps. And now he's got to find a way to rally. The crowd is behind him. The blue Protoss player from Azubu, it is Patience!
A lot of support here for Patience, and he needs every little bit he can get because he is playing against a crazy player. Life just gets it. He understands how to play. He's grown up playing StarCraft 2 over the last couple of years. And bear in mind, Life is still only 16 years old.
10 supply gateway opening for Patience at his ramp. This is a bit of a potentially aggressive posture he has.
Oh, yeah, this is most definitely aggressive here, Nathanias. This is something we don't really see too often against Zerg players. And unfortunately for Patience, Life's initial overlord is headed in that direction. He's going to find out about this relatively early on.
Yeah, it's an important read for Life, as he actually has not yet started that spawning pool, and he has the resources to go hatchery first. So at the very least, his Zerglings will come out about as late as possible for Patience to hit this, save him going for something like a third hatchery, which would, I feel, almost be too much of a gamble versus someone who has these aggressive tendencies. Keep in mind that the probe scout for Patience will also go straight to Life's base.
All right, what is Life going to do? He's sending out another probe here. Is that to look around? I mean, another drone. So is that to look around? Is he actually going to try to expand here? He's found his opponent's probe. Where is the spawning pool? Okay, the spawning pool is now coming down. Now let's look at the Overlord, because Life is about to find out that that gateway is already finished. There's already a Zealot about to pop out, and he's going to find the Cybernetics core right behind it. To be honest, I really don't see how this is going to work out for Patience.
It's a very unorthodox strategy. As you said, we don't really see this too much from Protoss Zerg players. There's a lot of chrono boost. There's the warp gate technology on the way, and he's just chronoing that. Is he going to attempt just some very fast 3 or 4 gate attack?
Yes.
Life's actually taking a third hatchery. Is he not aware of it? Did he not
he
realize how early this gateway is?
He didn't see the Zealot, and then the Zealot comes down now, and all of a sudden, Life isn't read into this properly. I thought the Overlord may try to go a little bit further up to try to get a bit more information, maybe if he saw the cybernet score, but it's not. It's been chrono boosted. The probe has stopped, and it's very simple. For any of you that played StarCraft in the past, I know a lot of you have done this before. You're going to 4-gate. You're going to do this aggressive play, and Patience is that. He's got 3 gateways down, sorry, not 4, and he's going for this, Nathanias. He's going to try to beat Life with this. Remember that there's no gas been taken yet. I mean, sorry, that has for Life, but he's very far away from getting the tools necessary to defend against this.
Yeah, I mean, he's only a quarter way towards the Zergling speed, which you need something other than just normal Zerglings to hold off this 3-gate attack. This very, very fast gateway rush. The Zealot heads to the natural, sees no drones yet. Life is committed to just Zerglings. He's caught a whiff of this, and he realizes he needs every dollar possible to defend. Cancels the 3rd hatchery. More Queens on the way, queuing up a Spine Crawler. Is it going to be enough? Warp Gate's still 30 seconds out.
Yeah,
Life seems to be setting himself up quite well.
He's identified that this aggressive play is coming in, and this is all the eggs in the basket now for Patience. This is it. If this doesn't work, he's going to lose, and Life will go to the grand finals to play against Liquid Tasia. And we're about to find out if it will work. There's 10 Zerglings on the way. Zergling speed is on the way. There's a Spine Crawler halfway through being completed. Like I said earlier, I'm finding it very hard for Patience to pull this off. Life sees the 3 additional Stalkers being made.
Yeah, he's put all his eggs in one basket. Now the Stalkers are coming up. He has the Zealot, but the Spine Crawler will be done in time. There's a handful of Queens and a ton of Zerglings. He can even actually try to flank him. This isn't an attack that can have force fields. Trying to pick off this Spine Crawler, but already losing the shields. Good job of keeping the Stalker alive.
The Zerglings there behind. He's looking to see if Patience goes too far forward. He could get the surround. Patience to spot it. But Nathanias, another Spine Crawler. The Queens are going to have Transfuse on the Spine Crawler. And this is not looking too good at all. With speed about to finish, Life is coming from behind, and he's going to try and get a surround.
Yeah, Patience. And he does pick off one of the Spine Crawlers. The energy for the Transfuse is available, but picks off one of the Queens. Patience is doing everything he can to make this work. The Zerglings coming from behind. Zealot warp in. 12 more Zerglings queued up. He's almost managed to box Patience in. These Stalkers are pretty big, taking up a lot of this space. The Zerglings are being chewed through, but is it enough for Patience? More Zerglings coming out. Zergling speed is done in 2 seconds time. Does he have enough, Apollo?
3 Zealots and 4 Stalkers. He needs another wave. He cannot fight until another wave comes in here. There it is. A Sentry could actually force the ramp there. And all the units are down. But there's still a lot more of these Zerglings where they came from.
As one force field needs it to be perfect whenever he does. And he's chewing through these Zerglings. He's trying to make it happen. 17, 16 more Zerglings on the way. Tries to force field and catch those in. No luck there.
He's starting to do it, Nathanias. He's starting to do it. There's not that many Zerglings left. The Queens have been used for defense, not to lava inject. And Life is running out of time now. And I think with one more wave in from Patience, he's probably going to do it. Look at this. Look at the units. The Zealots have regenerated their shields. Another warping comes in great position around the hatchery here. And it looks like Patience may be able to do this now.
That Spine Crawler is very weak. He does have the Transfuse available. Zealots cleaving through these Zerglings. A Spine Crawler with 4 hit points gets picked off. No Transfuse. He's moving in. Patience getting on top of the remaining units from Life. He doesn't want to go down 3-0. He picks off the units in the natural. More Zerglings coming out in the main base. There's no Queens this time, and it's just going to be Zerglings and potentially drones trying to hold this off. Another Sentry gets warped in. Another Zealot. GG. Patience is not out yet.
Then does the opposite. That's definitely something we could see.
It really just comes down to whether or not he still has the drive in him to bring it back. But in the northwest corner of Akalon Wastes, the Red Zerg player trying to close it out from Team Startail. It is Life. And if he gets taken out here, he would not have been the first champion of this year to say that he was going to beat this player in the Southeast. The blue Protoss from Team Azubu. It is Patience!
And I really think one of the most important parts of that previous game, if we just eliminate how it happened, forget about how it happened and, you know, the cheese, the aggressive play involved, he got a game on the scoreboard, which now says to Patience, all right, whatever, I've got a game, one more, and it's equal. And then the last game, anything is possible. So I really think that's a strong confidence boost. And look at this, we already have a fast probe going over to the other side of the map here. And I wonder if he is trying to block a hatchery first here. He could be going for some form of cannon rush if we see a cannon forge put down immediately. And look at that.
The forge is on the way.
There is the forge.
He ran that probe on the left side of the map to make sure it would not go past an overlord that was sent straight across.
Does life check before he tries to go for hatchery first, even if he does? No, he's gone spawning pool first. So the way that Patience is playing this is expecting a hatchery first play to be used. But I guess unless he doesn't see the hatchery, then there's no point to invest in it and can easily fall back onto an expansion. And he's not going to commit. He didn't build a pylon. He's not going to try and do it. Smart play from Patience not to waste too much money on something which isn't even there.
Yeah, he kept his eyes open for an opportunity that simply didn't present itself, and now the probe will head down. The drone will start this hatch without too much trouble. And Life gets his hatchery up.
Yep, and there's nothing Patience can do here. So unfortunately for him, he spent 150 minerals on a forge, which isn't really going to be useful here. He should be just looking to throw down that Nexus immediately and just play the game on. Which, in return, if he'd just gone for the Nexus in the first place, he'd be in a better position economically. So a little bit of a disadvantage goes to Patience here through opting to try to catch Life off guard.
Yeah, and I mean, at the worst comes to worst, if Life tried any type of fast pool play, Forge at the very least can help you defend against that. He has the cannon coming in, before his gateway even. Zerglings are starting to come out. The probe will go in for potentially one last scout, as this drone is escorted to what seems to be the third base for Life. He's tried to take the third base at every possible opportunity in this series. Now the gateway comes in, so we're seeing a very different look from the opening of Patience. He looked for the cannon rush, but now opening with this forge. Are we going to see that more macro-based style? What kind of attacks can he even make off of this two-base setup?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple attacks he could set up from this. I mean, still gateway attacks is still super viable here. But Acheron Wastes is a map where you can play off three bases kind of easy as a Protoss player, or at least easier than other maps. There's high ground from the natural, you've got rocks to break down in your third, and there's a funneled area for Zerg to try to break through the third base. So usually it does lend itself to a more standard, a slower, patient game. And I think that, you know, ultimately could be the playstyle Patience could go for. Slow the pace down, but if he does want to be aggressive, there's absolutely options still available.
It's exactly as you said it, and you said it in the last game as well, slowing things down. This is a great map for some of that slower play. And to be honest, a lot of the builds we've seen from Patience so far have centered around some level of early aggression. So seeing him go in the macro, what style does he actually prefer when he has to play out this macro game, when he has to play a much slower style? And I think all part of it comes down to, obviously, the tech he puts down as the cybernetic score completes, but other small factors. When does he take the gas? Does he take gas in his natural? And it looks like Stargate, a completely different look than what he's shown us so far in this series.
And Life isn't too far away from seeing that. Does have an overload on that natural, and he hasn't seen it yet. With a Stargate, so with a Stargate play, there's a couple of ways he can go. He could go for an Oracle and try to do damage early on. He could continue to build Oracles to do a big attack after he starts with harassment. He could go straight for Phoenixes, try to do harassment, try to play kind of fast, whether it be scouting, picking up overlords, queens, drones, while macroing back at home. He could start Void Ray production and try to take a fast third base. So these are the options available to him. Where does he really go with it? And let's find out.
Yeah, I kind of like the Oracle into Void Ray styles. He still could open up with Phoenix, but there is that Oracle. He's actually already gotten these rocks down very, very low, so he can take that quick third base that you'd mentioned. He can block himself in. This Zergling trying to prevent the Nexus from being placed, and a few more Lings actually will be able to spill in, so Life doing a pretty decent job of actually preventing this base from being taken. The Zealot tries to use its dying breath to lock those Zerglings in.
Unfortunately there, the probe still dies. A nice attempt from Patience. And it was his last dying breath. He killed himself there. Wasn't going to get eaten alive by Zerglings.
A true Protoss martyr, but the Zerglings try to press the front. Nothing doing here. He has the sentry, has the cannon. So the Roach Horn and the Zergling Speed are coming in. We don't see anything like a lair yet. No evolution chambers from Life.
But Life has seen the Stargate. When he poked up there, he was able to see it. And through the rocks being killed and the rocks not being killed in between the bases, he's actually gone ahead and thrown down the Nexus on the other side. And Life has immediately gone over to spot it.
I mean, it's a smart play. The time it would take to kill those rocks with how few units he has would be pretty long. So the Oracle comes in, tries to get a few kills. It's managed to grab 2 so far.
Life has spotted the third Nexus and says you don't actually have an open area to defend this. If you do, you're going to be down on the low ground. Do you really have a lot of units and a lot of force fields to save your third base? And Life is going to question that. He's building 30 roaches. He's gonna build a lot of Zerglings here. His Zergling speed's about to complete. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure Patience can hold on. Sure, he's got air units, and there isn't Hydralisk or anything that can shoot up, but the sheer amount of units and the quantity that Life's throwing over there, if that Nexus dies, then the tech that we're trying to see being built from Patience, the robotics base, is all going to be slowed down. He cannot lose this base, otherwise Life is going to take a pretty substantial lead in this game, and I'm not sure he's even seen this coming across yet.
Yeah, the Mothership Core and the Void Ray is so important for holding this. He's trying to see that cannon, but here comes Life towards the front. Void Ray immediately activates the Prismatic Alignment, trying to pick these roaches off. There is that cannon being attacked. He's putting down more behind the wall, and so far he's managed to protect the natural, but that third base is under siege. The cannon even being a little bit exposed to these Zerglings. He's bringing the Mothership Core with that other Void Ray back. This cannon won't last very long, and while the Void Ray is unchallenged in the air, there's too much on the ground to kill. He's actually getting inside the natural.
He doesn't want to get inside there. He's going to start to lose these sentries, and the open wall is there. Where is the Mothership Core? I can't help but feel it was on the other side of the map. It needs to get back to defend here. A Photon Overcharge would be ideal, but Life has broken the natural. He's broken the third. He's inside the main, and Life is in 3 areas, and not having that lockdown with force fields and making a wall off, things are starting to crumble for Patience.
Patience trying to do a little bit too much with this slow style in Life. Cranking up that speed, has blasted through everything he's got. The third base under attack. He tries to warp in some Zealots for Harass. There are Zerglings waiting for that. The Hydralisks are on the production tab as well. And the Void Ray should be able to get these roaches out of the main, but the third Nexus falls. 16 Hydras on the way. This is not a safe number of Void Rays for holding off a Hydralisk-based attack.
Oh, if only that was... I really felt that that could have been defended. I'm not sure where the Mothership Core was at the time, if he'd been able to wall off the natural ramp and really focus his defense on the third with the air and the Mothership Core, that could have been held. But it wasn't, and now the pro count is low, the Warp Prison's been picked off, the Zealots are being cleaned up, and ultimately, there are a lot of Hydralisks out. What do we have in the units tab left here for Patience? 2 Immortals, 3 Void Rays, a Sentry, and 1 lonely Colossus trying to get its way out here. It's not a lot of units. No. And I think he's going to be safe on 2 bases with force fields if he's able to keep the units away, but an attempt of a third base, it's a no-go.
I mean, if there was a map where he could get that third base, though, given the circumstances, it would be this one, but the outer rocks have already been destroyed. Look at this stream of red across the mini-map. So many Hydralisks and Zerglings. And you said you can't break that ramp just yet. He might even try. The Zerglings are running in, getting the Colossus' attention. Time Warp on the ramp, trying to hold this back, but Life is pressing in. The Void Rays with the company of this Mothership Core, trying to stave this off. Unpower some of these buildings. The Colossus is under attack, hiding behind these Immortals. Will keep it alive. Patience isn't dead just yet, and Life is putting a lot into this. He's actually picked off the Forge. There's still these gateways alive at the third base. He'll try to grab those as well, but Patience doing what he can to stay in this.
Yeah, this is really, really good here from Patience to be able to defend on these 2 bases. Needs to kind of warp in a couple more sentries to not allow the natural to be broken, but Life has already accepted that this isn't going to be the winning move. He's going for the Hive, he's going to go for Vipers, and he's going to pull the Colossus down to him. And that's the big killing blow Life was. Before that, he's just going to tickle the Protoss player. Everything he can get is a win, and that's a win right there.
Yeah, and he only actually has 1 gateway of production with the third base gates being shut down. So he's trying to get a couple more inside of his main base. He's trying to get the Twilight Council as well. He's rebuilt the Forge, restarting the +1 armor. But Life is saying, I'm just going to crack this open from every direction possible.
Life is so aggressive, doing all this from 3 bases. Usually see a Zerg play be taking a 4th and a 5th. But with the Hive near completion, man, we will see Vipers. We will see them dragging the fight out to the open. Life knows if he tries to go up the ramp, it's not going to work. The only really way for Patience to take a third base now is going to be to the tucked away one, more so. He's never going to be able to go down his natural ramp, otherwise the units will come crushing through. I guess maybe the one way to stop these Vipers, maybe if we see a Temporal Archives come down, he could get the feedbacks out, or maybe the Void Rays with Blink Stalkers. Maybe Blink Stalkers, if they're able to prevent the Vipers from bringing the units out, and then that's the way to survive. That's going to be the most crucial part for Patience in the next couple of minutes. Stop the Vipers.
Well, there's actually no Stalkers on the field, so while that Blink could help him, it's halfway done. there are 4 Vipers coming out onto the map. So the Oracle goes in, sees if it can make anything happen, not able to deal any damage, use the Envision. Those Vipers are starting to feed that energy, and I think without that third base already being established, this Templar Archives that's coming in, he won't be able to afford too many Templar. He needs to, whichever Templar he does get, must get feedbacks on every single one of these Vipers.
The thing is, Life's economy isn't amazing. He's on 3 bases, not 4. He's trying to get that 4th up. If Patience can survive this, then the game goes on. If he doesn't, it ends right now, right here. Blink isn't ready. The Templar Archives is seconds away. Stop the Vipers. That's all it's going to take here to be able to stop this, because the Colossus and the Void Rays will go untouched.
Photon Overcharge has activated that +1 armor.
Where's the High
Looks
Templar?
like
2 are getting
barely
warped
finishing.
in. They need the feedbacks on the Vipers.
Behind the army, the Vipers on the south side gets 2
that's
feedbacks. Patience trying to push him back. There's still 2 abducts available. He's going for it. Gets 2 Colossi. Pulled right into the fray. One of them will be able to waltz away. The force field's holding everything together. Patience is getting the best engagement possible, but does he have enough to fight off this entire army? The Archon gets picked off. Still 2 Colossi lending their damage into this, but he takes a big trade. Third Nexus is complete.
He survives for now, but the nightmare is not over yet. Remember, Life never lets go. If he's got you, he will keep on coming. There are more Vipers. Are there more High Templars? The unit count is low here for Patience. He's hiding up a hill. He realizes his danger. Look at the supply difference, 194 to 97. This is not over yet. 130 army supply, we can see in the bottom right, to 43. Just 43 army supply. Patience is holding on. He's trying to go double forge to try to really upgrade fast, I imagine, but he's got a long way for those to take place. Another assault will be launched, and this time it may not be stopped.
Yeah, with that ramp being a little bit more open than it was before, and as you said, those upgrades constantly delayed. It's what he used to defend in the first game. There's the Abduct. The last Colossus getting pulled in now. There's the GG. Patience taps out, and Life will move on to face Tasia in the grand final.